everyone, in this video we will be walking step by step through a task analysis for a shaping procedure. You will learn how to correctly implement a shaping procedure with the help of my dog, Lily. The first step in shaping is to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Understanding the nature and process of a behavior change procedure is critical to implementing it with fidelity. Shaping is the differential reinforcement of successive approximations toward a terminal behavior. In other words, we break down a target behavior into smaller behaviors that either resemble the target behavior or will move the learner closer to demonstrating that behavior. We then guide the learner through these successive approximations until they are able to complete the terminal behavior independently. This is done through reinforcing the first behavior in the plan. When the learner moves on to the second behavior, offer reinforcement for that behavior and place the prior behavior on extinction. Continue using differential reinforcement in this way until the learner reaches the target behavior. Shaping is used to teach a new behavior. If we were to wait to reinforce a desirable behavior when it spontaneously appeared in the learner's repertoire, we would be waiting a very long time. Shaping is a way to speed up the learning process by building on the learner's current repertoire until they can complete the behavior independently. The second step in shaping is to plan your procedure. This involves 4 additional steps: selecting the terminal behavior, determining the criterion for success, identifying behaviors to reinforce, and assessing the learner's response repertoire. So why do we select the end or terminal behavior first? Well, you have to know where you're going in order to know how to get there. For Lily, the planned terminal behavior was that she would pick up her leash using her mouth and bring it to within 6 inches of me while I was on the couch. Usually when we've taken the time and effort to shape a behavior, we're hoping that behavior will continue after it has been taught. It is not enough for the learner to do it once and call it good. We have to determine what frequency, magnitude, or duration of the behavior will be considered successful. For Lily, the criterion for success was that she would bring me her leash once a day for 6 consecutive days. My shaping procedure with her has not actually been successful yet. We managed to get to one of the final approximations during the course of this project, but she has not yet met the criterion for success. We will continue working until she does so. This next step helps the behavior analyst determine the behavioral gap between the learner's current repertoire and the terminal behavior. It may include such things as attending, gross or fine motor skills, verbal skills, and so on, depending on the terminal behavior. When we started shaping this behavior, Lily was able to independently walk to the leash. She had an attention span of about 5 minutes, so I decided to keep our session short. She was also partially clicker trained, so I incorporated the clicker into the shaping plan. You can also conduct a preference assessment for the learner if you have not already identified preferred reinforcers. For Lily, I knew that she was willing to work for training treats, so I continued to use those for this procedure. When determining which successive approximations to reinforce, it is important to start small and work upwards. Starting with too big of a behavior will likely result in frustration on the part of both the learner and the practitioner. Many have called shaping an art form, as it takes a good eye and a certain amount of instinct to catch the next approximation and decide when to move on to the next step. It can be helpful to create a general outline of what you expect new behaviors to look like as you progress, but be flexible, as the learner may omit a new behavior that was not on your plan, but will still lead to the next step. For perspective, here is a comparison of what I had originally planned as the successive approximations for this procedure compared to the approximations Lily actually went through. If your learner displays a new behavior that was not on your list, work with it. Step 3 in shaping is to set the context. This involves ensuring that you have the materials you need to carry out the procedure, as well as eliminating stimuli that are distracting or unnecessary to your learner's success. Having all your materials in place before you begin will ensure that you don't miss an opportunity to reinforce a new approximation during the procedure. For this project, materials included cameras, the leash, training treats, the clicker, and of course the dog. As a side note, make sure that whatever reinforcer you're using is salient enough for your learner, but won't cause satiation too quickly. The training treats we were using had to be broken in half following the first session. This next step basically translates to ensure your learner can achieve success by removing distractions. For Lily, this included things like toys, her food bowl, and the cat. Step 4 in shaping is to finally carry out your procedure. Remember to be flexible. Not every learner will progress through the approximations evenly. It may take more trials to get one right than it does the next. Optimize the experience for your learner and ensure that you are moving at the right pace. It is better to go slowly than to jump forward too quickly to the next approximation and lose your previous progress. For Lily, moving slowly meant doing training only a couple times a week. We started out way too eagerly, and she seemed to be getting frustrated by having sessions every day or every other day. Her instances of non-compliance or refusing to work were quite frequent. Based on a study by Meyer and Laidley, I scaled our sessions back and also backed up to a previous approximation. Lily was much more successful during our sessions after this. Here we'll watch a video of Lily's progress through the shaping procedure. The approximations go by quickly, but see if you can pick up on the subtle differences in her behavior between the clips. Interacting with the leash, moving the leash, mouthing the leash, picking up the leash, picking it up and moving it toward me, moving it toward me as I back away, bringing it halfway across the room, and finally bringing it all the way across the room. Notice how she keeps looking at me. The goal of her behavior here is to contact that reinforcement. Also notice that I'm going to toss her 3 treats at the end of this last one. Some trainers will call that jackpotting. Basically, you want to use a big reinforcer for big behaviors like this that take a lot of effort on the part of your learner. Step 5 in shaping is to take data on your learning sessions. Once you have analyzed the data from your previous session, you will have a better idea how to proceed in the next, whether the learner will need to revisit the previous approximation a few more times, or if they're ready to move on. When collecting data on Lily's sessions, I chose to video the trainings and take my data afterwards. This allowed me to focus entirely on the shaping procedure in the moment. Each graph depicted here follows one of the successive approximations we went through in this procedure. Along the x-axis of each graph, we see the session number. Along the y-axis, we see the number of trials of the approximation that were completed in each session. We start with the graph on the top left and work our way down. As you can hopefully see, there is a nice progression between the approximations as you move down and across the sessions. Here are the last 2 approximations that we went through during this procedure. What I'm trying to say here is that the peak of each graph, the point at which the number of trials is the highest, moves across the x-axis as we move through the approximations. You can also see on the right here that we revisited a few of the approximations several times. Be sure to remember that shaping is not always a linear process. The final step in shaping is to be sure that you continue reinforcing your newly shaped target behavior. Intermittent reinforcement of the terminal behavior is important to ensure maintenance over time. For Lily, this will likely look like 1 training treat each time she brings me her leash. Once this behavior has been shaped, I'll be able to move on to other behavior change procedures that require this behavior as a pivotal skill. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little bit more about shaping today. If you'd like to learn more, please check out the resources listed here.